Hi and welcome to the Everyday Fitness and Wellbeing podcast with me, Sean Newton. For this episode, I've teamed up with PT Pete, a colleague here in Brighton. We're going to bring you a series of bite-sized episodes, and we're going to kick off with this first one based around my up-and-coming Brighton Marathon in literally 3 days. Now, Pete likes to talk, and with over 20 years experience as a PT, it's actually great to pick his brains with a few nuggets of info in there for sure. I hope you enjoy. Let's take it away. Okay, here we are again. This is myself, Sean Newton, and I'm here also with Pete.
PT Pete.
PT Pete. Thanks for listening in. What we're going to talk about today is carrying on, Pete, from last time.
The marathon, and we are now, where are we, Thursday? Marathon's on Sunday, 3 days to go. How are you feeling? I mean, this. I think we should direct it to how you're feeling, really.
Well, to be honest with you, I'm confident now that I can get round uninjured.
So no more training now?
No, there's no more training.
This is it, done? Are you? And what about carving up? I mean, what's have you got any? We talked a little bit about your training schedule, a tiny bit.
Yeah.
Training plans and stuff, and whether they should be used. But
well, in fact, let's recap on that.
Yeah, because we kind of touched on it, didn't we?
Yeah.
Whether we think is that you kind of haven't used a training plan per se.
I started out with the main. I was a spectator at the last 2016 marathon.
Yeah.
And I saw this 84-year-old cross the line.
Really?
And I thought to myself,
If
he in fact.
Oh, if he can. Fabulous.
I found it absolutely really inspiring because I've often told myself, no, I'm not built for long distance. I don't like long distance. But when I saw him, I went down with my kids. Not too far from the Madeira Drive, and I saw this guy cross the line. Can't remember the time. It was one of the last ones crossing.
Yeah, but he did it.
He did it, and it really didn't matter. And I signed up that night. So, in answer to your question, when did I start training? Well, perhaps I gave myself almost 2-3 weeks after that. I thought
it's almost 12 months, wasn't it, in the making?
Yeah, and my starting point was I was only running about 2-3 miles.
Okay.
So I knew then that start either increasing it by mileage or by time. I didn't have any. I didn't even own a watch, to be honest with you, so I think I just had my iPhone. And it was a case
just went on distance probably.
Yeah.
You just thought, right, on the 26th, on the 9th of April, I've got to run 26 miles.
Yeah.
That's happening no matter what.
Yeah.
So you can just work back from there. You think, well, I can only run 2 or 3, so March I need to be running 3 or 4.
Exactly.
And then you just keep going forward. January I need to be at 8 miles, August I need to be at this miles, and just slowly do it. You give yourself a long time as well, that's good.
That's what I
start
think.
Till like August.
Well, and this is what I was going to ask you, because obviously the audience don't know your background, and hopefully when we do some more podcasts, we can share a little bit more of your background in trail running and the 2 marathons that you've ran.
Yeah.
But you know only too well that, as you just mentioned, the training schedules, sometimes they don't start till September, and it's only a 6 months lead-in time. So,
well, I've looked at a lot of training schedules, because a lot of people have said to me, I've got this training schedule, and I've looked at many, and I've been kind of, wow, that looks really complicated.
Yeah.
I think I wrote something on they're taking something which is a very simple, easy to do.
Yeah.
Get a pair of trainers and you can go and run.
Sure.
It doesn't require anything more than trainers and a bit of enthusiasm. Yeah. So it's one of the best things, one of the cheapest forms of exercise there is bar none.
Exactly, yeah.
Other than walking.
Yeah, sure.
So it's the next one up from walking, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
In terms of buying equipment.
Yeah.
And so a lot of the training programs, they just slightly annoyed me because they're so complicated. And I thought, is the average person going to follow this? Monday you've got to do this, and sprints and intervals, and then HIIT, and Tuesday. I think if you're like that, if you're a bit of an Excel spreadsheet person, you probably love a training program. If you feel you need the confines and there's set of rules. If you feel you need that, then fair. But if you're a bit more of I roughly know that I need to run this far per month, then that's how I ran.
Yeah, and well, you achieve success by competing.
Yeah, it wasn't necessarily the fastest, you know.
I suppose if you're competing,
this is the difference. This
yes,
is the difference. I wanted to complete it, not, you know. There's somebody told me you compete or you complete,
yeah, I like that.
and they're quite nice little words. So
Yeah.
do you want to complete it?
Mm-hmm.
But the best you can. I wanted to do the best I could.
Sure.
I'm not saying I wanted to cruise in. I never wanted to walk. I wanted to run around it.
Yeah.
But I knew I was never going to be, and I come from a bodybuilding background, I was never going to be a 3-hour marathon man.
Yeah.
And that would require a training program, I think.
Sure.
Because because that's quick.
So, in a nutshell, I guess we're saying that identifying that significant structured training plans are for those that
Probably want to do with have a time in mind.
and the serious run.
And I think so.
the
And I
runs
think,
and clubs,
and I think if you want to just get a good time, I think you can get out there. You can know that you need to increase your mileage per month, get that one long run in per week, which should be longer either every other week or each week, until you get to the point where you're running around 17, 18 miles a month before the marathon. As long as you're getting to that point, then you'll be fine.
And I'm up to 18.
Exactly.
I did 18. And
That's the furthest you've done
ever.
Which is amazing, isn't it?
It's
and in 3 days' time, you're going to be running the furthest you've done ever.
And the good thing about it, I have listened to. There's a lot of advice out there. There's this, and the irony is, I remember training a client years ago, and we started off with the simplest of intervals because he was on the roll-ups,
Right.
The rolling tobacco.
Right, yeah.
So he said, Sean, I want to do a marathon. Okay, well, let's see. Let's start running, basically. And he could run for about a minute before needing to stop and wheeze.
Okay.
But he was he went on to complete his marathon. But we had to start with that run, walk.
Yeah. Run walking is absolutely fine. Run walking is absolutely fine. I've told many people to do that, many clients, many friends. Get out there and run for a bit, and and your training, there's nothing wrong with run walking. Even if you do the race, crikey, there's nothing wrong with walking a little bit. It's fine.
Trust me,
but you want to try and run the whole thing. But in training, it's, a lot of people feel they need to go out, but I can't run, or I can't run for any distance. It doesn't matter. Go out. You could go on time and go, right, I'm going to go for an hour, and within that hour, I'm going to try and run as much as I can.
Yeah.
So you run, I'm going to run to the end of the park, and then I'm going to walk a little bit, and then I'm going to run to the end of the park and walk a little bit.
Now, there may be some people listening to this thinking, well, that's all well and good, but what about injuries? Then, if you cast your mind back, I know we'll talk in another podcast a bit more in length about your previous training. Sure, I've done some obstacle races, etc., but not the sort of significant distance like I'm doing this Sunday. A 5k. Not taking anything away from the short distances, because for someone who's been sat on the couch,
it's all relative.
Exactly. But injury-wise, the risks are increased when you're going on these longer distances.
They do. They're increased because of the distance. They're increased because of it's something. People are going longer than they've ever gone before.
Exactly.
So the body's like, "What are you doing?" And you're running a high percentage of the time on concrete and tarmac, which is unforgiving.
So how did you avoid injury yourself?
Well, I didn't avoid injury at all. In fact, the London Marathon that I ran in 2008, which was the first one I did, I probably did 50 to 60% of my training on the bike.
Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
for sure, because I was quite big still well, I wasn't that big. I wasn't run fit at all.
Yeah, sure.
So I came out of a rather crazy rock star lifestyle, and so I wasn't run fit at all.
Right.
And I just started to run, and I developed shin splints, which I'm sure a few listeners will go, shin splints, which is a pain running up the front of your shin, which is just the muscle underneath is surrounded by a sheath like a sausage. And that sheath doesn't expand as quick as the muscle does, and then it pulls against the bone, and it feels like someone's putting a knife down your. And it can be, it can stop you running, and not just stop you for there, it can stop you for a long time, and put you off running.
Oh yeah.
So at that point, you have to then look at the shoes you're wearing, which do make a factor. You have to look at the ground you're wearing. Sometimes run on a park, so maybe change the surface and do the run walk.
Yeah.
And massage, self-massage. You can actually get rid of shin splints with a thumb down the side of the shins yourself.
Oh, I tried that, but I didn't realise...
You can do a lot yourself. Yeah, you put some oil on your thumb and you go down the side of the shin. You can sort of feel where the side of the shin and your calf meets. There's an obvious kind of ledge, and that is where the pain will be. And you'll go down there and it'll feel like ow. But if you could do that all the time, and it gets rid of it itself. So I actually got rid of my shin splints from myself.
Oh, right. Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah.
But I didn't avoid injury. But I spent a lot of the time on the. I'm not saying that's the best way to do, but I wanted to do this marathon. So
there's a lot
to talk about injuries, running, stuff like that. But back to your.
You said you mentioned food actually. You mentioned
there's a little bit of food. Yeah, I mean, here we could talk many podcasts about carving up, not carving up. There's a lot of stuff coming out now that they're saying you don't need to carve up. Well, it doesn't actually do a lot more to the muscle glycogen stores than previously thought.
Let me tell you about my last run with 18 miles. I remember you did recommend trying. Well, I was going to avoid the gels.
Yes.
I've tried them once before, and we were talking.
I think
too sweet for me.
I think you certainly gels. Yeah, they're very strong, super concentrated fuel. So you try them the months before.
Yeah.
And see if your stomach does them. You know, taking the gel, literally day of the race could end in terrible trouble. I get on with them. I don't have a problem with them, but many people I know don't like them because they're super concentrated.
You did tell me a
horror
story of the gels.
Yeah, exactly.
That's inappropriate.
That's that's for another time. So what are you going to do?
Well,
or what did you do on the 18 miler?
On the 18 miler.
How long did that take you, by the way?
Too long.
Conservative. 2.5, 3?
If only. More like 3.5.
3.5. Yeah. So you needed fuel.
I did need fuel.
You needed to replenish yourself.
Yeah, I did eat roughly 2 hours beforehand.
Okay. And that was?
Which was still sitting heavy.
Porridge?
No, it wasn't porridge. I was working at the gym, so I grabbed something in the canteen. And in the staff room.
Okay, yeah.
And if I cast my mind back, I think like the salad wraps.
Right, so not exactly.
Banana.
A bit of fuel.
Yeah, there was some fuel there. There was some chicken actually. I think I had chicken, and loose plan in the back of my mind was to increase the mileage incrementally, just a little bit each week.
Yeah. Knowing where you were.
Exactly, from the start.
So the marathon's in April. Where were you? When did you actually start training? What month was it in the previous year?
As it was a Sunday, I think I even had a Cumberland sausage from the hot deli counter.
To be honest, it doesn't really matter, does it? You know, because you're going to run.
I knew I could be rather blasé with what I ate.
As long as you got the calories in.
Exactly.
And did you said it took you 3.5 hours. Did you have anything else on you? Or did you was that all you ate?
Very ill prepared. The motivation, because I'd done it 2 weeks before, I'd tried 17 miles the week before. I knew at the back of my mind, and this is something we may even chat about another time, how to motivate yourself to do such a long distance or to be on the road for 3 hours.
That's where people struggle. They're like, I don't know how you run that far. I don't know how you cycle that far. It's the long stuff.
And the thing is, I knew I could do it, and I had the headphones and a podcast to listen to, music to listen to. So everything was set there. I didn't have my correct water bottle, so there was a few things that I would have liked in place. But believe it or not, in answer to your question, I had this innocent smoothie in a bowl. Something just moving in the background. So I had this innocent smoothie. It was one of their green kale things.
Yeah.
But they're generally too sweet anyway, so I watered that down. Or certainly, to start with, I'd sip on it.
Right.
And then and I've tried this before, and then obviously as I'm sipping, I can then top it up with more water. And running all the way to Saltdean, there's a little tap.
There's an outdoor fountain, isn't there?
Yeah, outdoor fountain. So I was able to top that up with more water.
Okay.
And so I've got this diluted energy drink. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. With
natural energy drink as well.
Natural. No additives. No. Would give Lucozade a run for its money, certainly.
Yeah.
And,
or other running drinks
are available. And there we have it. Thanks for listening, and stay tuned for further episodes with myself and Pete Dudley, just chatting away about bits and bobs in fitness. Take care.